Hi, my name's Fallon, and I'm here today with Chegg Tutors to talk to you about the concept of prejudice. So, there can be positive or negative prejudice, but most people focus on the definition of negative prejudice, which is a negative attitude towards a person or group based on their perceived status or characteristics, while positive prejudice is preferring to interact with a particular person or group based on your perception of their status or characteristics. Most people, however, whenever they think of prejudice, think of negative prejudice. Negative prejudice, or even positive prejudice, is often held independently of facts, logic, or actual interactions with the person or group that you hold the negative view for, or a negative attitude towards. And prejudice is often studied by sociologists as it relates to inequality because frequently, prejudice leads to discrimination. Most sociologists agree that prejudice is universal, so it can be found anywhere in the world, and it isn't only a facet of one particular group or place. And sociologists disagree about the source of prejudice. Some sociologists believe that prejudice arises when someone is looking for someone else to blame for a problem. So when a person or group is looking for a scapegoat for some issue that has come up, while other sociologists, particularly those who ascribe to the conflict theory, believe that the powerful, those in power, use prejudice to maintain their power. So they spread ideas that will create prejudice against a certain group in order to keep the power that they have because they are not part of that group. An example of prejudice that is turned into discrimination is the sign that I have up on the screen. It says, "Help wanted, no Irish need apply." The Irish were persecuted and experienced a lot of prejudice whenever they first started immigrating in large numbers to the United States. And many people held these prejudices against the Irish without actually knowing any facts or having any actual experience with the Irish. Another example of prejudice, several more examples, would include things like highly religious parents not wanting their Christian daughter to marry a Muslim man, so they're holding a prejudice against another religion because they have a negative attitude towards it. Another example would be a corporation not hiring women into high-level positions because they don't believe that women as a whole are capable. So they have negative attitudes towards women, which is the group, based on their characteristics, whether they think that they're too emotional or not assertive enough. And they most likely hold these views without having actually experienced any of this or having any facts about women. Another example of prejudice would be a student disliking another student simply because they're gay, not necessarily because they've actually had any negative interactions or they have any facts about the other student, but just simply disliking the other person on the principle that they are gay. So, to sum up, prejudice is a negative attitude towards a person or group based on their perceived status or characteristics. There's also positive prejudice where you would prefer a specific group over another group because you like their characteristics better. And sociologists often study prejudice as it relates to inequality because prejudice is universal and can lead to discrimination. So if you have any other questions, feel free to get in touch with me or another Chegg tutor. Thanks so much.